Hello, my name is Anuska and welcome to my channel. So this week's video is all about releasing the neck to free the voice. Yes, because last week I did a video all about weightlifting and resistance training and how it impacts the voice. And one of the things that I spoke about was excessive neck tension. So I wanted to address this specifically in this week's video and how this kind of contributes to the voice, but also more importantly, what you can do to release your neck so you can free your voice. And I do these exercises with my private clients, and to my ears, there's a drastic difference in the quality of the sound, the ease and the freedom in their sound, and they will always report that their voice feels easier. So lots of things can contribute to excessive neck tension. And one of the first most important ways is through our postural alignment with our head-neck balance. Is our head actually balanced properly on top of our body? Because it's actually incredibly heavy. And the neck really isn't actually, relatively speaking, that strong relative to the weight of the head. So if it's not properly balanced, it's going to be putting undue stress on the neck. So some examples, and I can 100% relate to this too. I have to do neck release work all the time because I fall into most of these categories. Maybe you're someone that sits at a desk in front of a computer all day and you poke your chin forward or you poke your chin up. And often the thing is we don't even know that we're doing this. So it's just catching ourselves. And often the only way we know we're doing some of these things is because our neck starts to feel tired or tense or just generally not very happy. So that's the first one. Equally, if you're someone that drives, you might find you poke your chin forward or poke your chin up, depending on the position of your seat in the car. Could also be if you're someone on your phone, and I see this a lot on the tube, actually, people usually have their heads down and they're on their phone, and then all of this is getting scrunched up, so they're looking right down. Another example, which again relates to the kind of weightlifting, so obviously the weightlifting resistance training, but also if you're someone that does sit-ups in the gym and maybe your abs aren't quite that strong yet, so you might engage the neck muscles to help you do your sit-ups, or even just at the very broad level, just sitting up. Often people will recruit their neck muscles to help them sit up when they've been lying down. So these are all ways that we can overly recruit the neck muscles and then create this excessive unnecessary tension through the neck. And it's going to impact your voice. It's going to impact the ease and the freedom in your voice. And as I say, I hope by the end of this video, you're going to have a very real, direct experience of this. So for a free and open voice, we want the head balanced on top of the spine, but we also want to be able to move the neck. So we want to be able to go from left to right and right to left. So there's a nice, easy movement, but we also want to be able to look up and look down. And if you can't do these with ease, you're going to find that it's going to impact the freedom and the ease in your voice. The larynx, or the voice box, literally lives in the neck. So we've got this direct connection already between the neck and the voice. The larynx is right here. And for a man, it's an Adam's apple, so it protrudes and it's much more obvious. But there are 27 muscles in and around the larynx, and 12 of those have a direct action on the vocal folds and are intimately connected to the muscles of the neck, the shoulder, and the upper back. So there is so much to the voice, and often we think the voice is just the larynx, but what you're going to see just in this video today, and if you watch any of my other videos, is it's all connected. I mean, you cannot separate your voice from the rest of your body, essentially. But we're just looking today at the neck-voice connection. So I'm going to give you 4 examples of the neck-voice connection from a muscular perspective. There are others, and this isn't an anatomy lesson, but just to give you some very sort of real examples of what this looks like, because I don't think often we realize how interconnected everything is. And this is why when I work with clients privately, I'm looking at so much more than just what's going on in the larynx. I'm looking at around the larynx, the shoulders, the neck, the sternum, the jaw, the tongue, the lips, etc., because it all has an impact on the freedom and the ease in our voice. So the first one, and I'm going to put the names up somewhere on the screen. I'm not quite sure where it's going to go. It's going to go up on the screen somewhere. And the first one is the STYLOHYOID muscle. This muscle essentially connects from the styloid process, which is a bony prominence just below the ear. And then it runs to the hyoid bone. Now, the hyoid bone actually is a bone. It's a free floating bone, but the larynx is suspended from the hyoid bone. So already we've got this direct connection with the stylohyoid from this bony prominence just below the ear to the larynx. So we're coming from around here, and obviously it's on both sides. The next one is the STYLOGLOSSUS. So again, same point, it starts from the styloid process, and glossus means tongue. So it's the styloid process to the tongue. And we know, and if you've watched any of my videos about the tongue, you will know that there is a very, very strong connection between the voice and the tongue, not only for articulation, but there are muscles that indirectly connect the tongue to the larynx. So we're already seeing these connections that run from the styloid process, from sort of just under the ear to the hyoid bone, which is essentially the larynx, or to the tongue, which is also essentially the voice anyway. Then we've got the digastric muscles, and these actually run from the mastoid process, which is just behind the ear. It's the sort of bony prominence just behind the ear, and then to the belly of the jaw. And so it kind of runs under here. So the digastric muscles are kind of under the jaw here. And the jaw and the voice are, without stating the obvious, very, very closely connected. Again, connected via the hyoid bone, via the mylohyoid muscle. So everything, there's so much going on around here muscularly. It's quite incredible. I find it absolutely fascinating how much is going on all the time, and how any of us ever can do anything, to be honest, with the amount of muscles there are that have to be recruited to speak, let alone sing. And then finally, this is probably a muscle that you have heard of, is the sternocleidomastoid, or the SCM. And this is the kind of the big muscle, the big kind of neck muscle that you can often see on people. If I do, you can't see it so much here, but it's this muscle here that again runs from the mastoid process, so behind the ear, and then you can kind of see it here, runs down to the sternum. So it's kind of like that. And the sternum, again, from the sternum, and obviously the sternum is significant for breath, but also the sternum actually has a connection, a muscular connection from the sternum to the hyoid bone. So again, everything comes back to the voice. Whenever I say hyoid bone, essentially I'm saying the larynx. So we can see already there's a lot going on from sort of under the ears, behind the ears, down to the sternum, to the jaw, to the tongue, and directly to the hyoid bone, which is essentially the larynx. So there's a lot going on here. So I hope that's given you a good sense of why the neck and releasing the neck is so important, and some, well, there's 4 ways I gave you of how it's directly linked to the voice. So let's go through some release work now, and you can do what you like, take what you like, maybe try them all, see which ones feel good. We're all different. We all use our bodies in different ways. We all use our voices in different ways. So there may be ones that appeal to you and feel better than others. So first of all, we're going to give the back of the neck a really good stretch. Now, just to preface all of this by saying, if you have any sort of serious neck problems, take advice from your doctor or your therapist or whoever you're working with. But this is for the average person that gets some sort of tension and stiffness in their neck, but they haven't got any sort of serious neck problems. So always listen to your body, and always listen to your doctor if they've given you some advice. So we're going to do this very gently, but you're going to put your hands at the back of your head and then just pull very gently your chin to your chest, and allow the back of the neck and the upper kind of shoulder area to just stretch. And try and hold this for at least 10 seconds, breathing deep into the belly. And it should feel really nice. It feels amazing for me anyway. I love that exercise because I tend to be more the other way. So I like to really stretch the back of my neck. So again, hold it for at least 10 seconds. but really try and feel that nice stretch at the back and breathe deeply into your belly, because it will be quite hard to breathe into the upper chest anyway, but this is a really good way to kind of calm the nervous system and really allow that expansion and that release. The next exercise you can try is when you've then got your chin to your chest, is almost just to trace a line across your chest with your chin. So it's going to look like this. Now you don't have to keep your hands at the back of your head now. So again, being very gentle, and we're just going to trace the chin from one side to the other. And take your time, allow yourself to feel the stretch. So there's a couple of exercises for releasing the back of the neck. And if you're someone that is like this a lot, you'll find the back of the neck can get very squished. That's a technical term. So this is a nice way of de-squishing. That's another technical term. Now we're going to do the opposite now. We're going to now I say squish the back of the neck. We're not really going to squish the back of the neck. We're going to keep everything as open as possible, but we're going to stretch out the front of the neck and the throat area. This area, I would say, doesn't also get much of a stretch because we tend to be more like that or like that. But what we're going to do here is really open this up. And this is a platysma stretch, which is a thin sheet of muscle that runs all the way down here. So you're going to put your hands on your chest and then move your chin towards the ceiling. Again, be very gentle, and then pull down on your chest. And then allow your jaw to move up and down. And it should feel amazing. I love that stretch because we just never stretch through the front of the throat. So it will feel really nice. I think I could live in that stretch. It's amazing. So that's the second one. So we've done the back of the neck, we've done the front of the throat and the neck. Now, the next one you probably are familiar with. I've gone through this on a previous video, but I'm just going to recap, but I will put the link below to the other video because I went into it in more depth. But essentially, this is where we get, so whichever side we're working on first, so I'm going to take my left hand, put it on my right ear, and then allow my head to just drop to the side. Now, the important thing with this is we want to keep this shoulder relaxed and down. So we don't want to be like that. We want to, if we're sitting down, to sit on our hand. If we're standing up, we can just put the hand sort of by our side loosely. And then what we're going to do, and what makes this exercise a little bit different from your normal kind of static stretch, which we've probably already done before, is we're going to resist the stretch for 5 seconds, and then we can actually get a greater stretch. So what it's going to look like is we're going to resist the stretch. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then we're going to deepen. And then resist the stretch again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then deepen. So when you resist the stretch, you're almost pressing your head against the hand. And ideally you want to repeat this 4 to 6 times on each side, but I'm just so that I'm not kind of wonky, I'm going to do the other side as well. So the same thing, so you do the opposite. So right hand against left ear. And again, this is actually my tighter side. So again, resist the stretch. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Deepen on the exhale. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And it should feel amazing. Then you can also do this with your sort of nose towards your armpit. So you get a really nice stretch down here. So less on the side and more sort of down the back. And you can do that on both sides. I won't do that now, just in the interest of time, but you can see how you could really open all of this up. And it feels amazing. It really does. I mean, already I'm like, oh, now I can, you know, my neck feels so good already just by doing it that one time. So just spend as long as you need. Now, coming back to the digastric muscle, which we spoke about, which essentially starts from sort of under the ear and then comes under the jaw, we're going to just give this specific muscle a bit of a massage. So at the back of your head, almost like where your hairline is, but at the base of the skull, this is where the digastric muscle kind of connects. So we're going to just give ourselves a really nice massage at this point. So right at the back of the head, the base of the skull, around the hairline area is probably a good reference point. And you're just going to give yourself a really nice massage, first of all, just some nice circular movements. Now, then, as you're doing this, I'd just like you to very slowly move your chin down towards your chest. And then back up again. And then down. And it's almost like you're saying yes, very, very slowly. And then, because the digastric comes under the jaw, we're just going to give ourselves a nice massage under here as well. This can get very tight for people. There's a lot going on under here. I've done videos on the tongue and the jaw, but there is a lot going on under here. You'll notice when you speak, it can harden under there because the muscles kind of tense quite easily under here. So that we're working at that muscle from both ends, from the under the jaw to the base of the skull. The next exercise is just turning your head from left to right, but holding it for sort of 10 seconds at each side. I'm not going to hold it for 10 seconds on each side, but just to give you the idea. So you're just working the neck. Do everything very gently and very slowly, but just hold it for at least 10 seconds if you can. And then finally, we're going to just do a figure of 8 movement. So almost like imagine that your nose has got like a pen on the end of it and you're just drawing a figure of 8. So again, we're never doing anything really fast. We're never like yanking our neck into any position. Everything is just very fluid and gentle, but we're just getting a bit more movement through the neck, but in a very kind way to the neck. Now, I said at the beginning of the video that I would hopefully get you to sort of feel the difference between having a nice released neck when you speak and not. So I'm just going to get you to do some very simple humming. So, So just some very easy humming. You can hum your favorite tune, or you can just kind of go up and down with your voice. And then I want you to do the same thing while turning your head from left to right. Again, you're not doing this fast, you're doing it very slowly, but keep your shoulders relaxed, make sure they're not hunching up, keep your chest open, your head on top of your shoulders. So we're not doing anything kind of weird with the head, it's all nice and balanced. And then and notice the difference, first of all, in how it feels and the sound quality, because I will almost guarantee it's going to sound freer and more open, and it's going to feel better. And for me, just then, it absolutely felt better. And it's just, we're not allowing, when we do that, when we have that slight movement in the neck, when we're practicing, we're just ensuring that the neck muscles can't contract. They have to stay released if they're moving like this. So we're stopping them going when we speak. So you can play around with that, and it will give you a very immediate sense of the impact that your neck has on your voice. And then, I mean, you can do a lot more than that. You can even just practice speaking some whole sentences. You can do more crazy sounds with the humming. And just notice the difference. Notice how it feels when you don't move your neck in that way, and when you do just start to get a little bit of movement and some release through the neck. So any questions, please do post them below. I hope that's been really useful. If you liked this video, please do like, share and subscribe. And I look forward to seeing you next week on next week's video.